Students, a very good morning to you all. Today we'll start the first chapter of civics, that is democracy and equality. First of all, what is democracy? Democracy is a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governing legislatures. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, what we are going to study in this chapter? In this chapter, we will see what is the historical background of democracy, what elements of democracy make it a popular form of government throughout the world, and what is the importance of rule of law in a democracy. Now, as we all know, what is democracy? But have you ever wondered how democracy came into being? To find out this, let's go in the ancient time. The first known democracy in the world was in Athens. Athenian democracy developed around the 6th century BCE. The Greek idea of democracy was different from present day democracy because in Athens all adult citizens were required to take an active part in the government. Women, slaves, and people from other states and people from other states residing in Athens did not have any voting right. No democracy started flourishing during Roman Empire. But with the rise of feudalism during the Middle Ages, democracy was forced to take backseat, means it started becoming less important, and king started taking the power, total power in their own hand. So what is feudalism? If we talk in simple language, feudalism is the economic system of Europe where the king and the nobles used to have huge power and they used to suppress knights, vassals and peasants. So ultimately the power is in the hands of nobles and king. Now in Middle Ages, nobles tried to oppress king and they asked him, or I should say they forced him to sign Magna Carta. But what is Magna Carta? Magna Carta stated that the king had to obey the law like other people, and if the king broke the law, the nobles had the right to remove him and appoint new one. Now, why they started this? Because king were forcing their rule on the nobles and the other people. So, nobles forced the king to sign this Magna Carta. Now, there were two revolutions which were important in restricting the steps of the power of monarchies. They were American War and French Revolution. First of all, what is American War? The American War was fought between the King of Great Britain and 13 British colonies. They were against their loyalty towards the British monarchies, and it led to the development of United States of Declaration of Independence. Now the American War inspired Europe too to fought against the monarchies. The result was the overthrowing of the French monarchy and a change in the social structure of France. Now, if we talk about French society was divided into three states, that is, first state, second state, and third state. First state contained priest and the religious leader, that is, the higher society. Second state contained the noble, that is, middle class, and the third state, that is, peasant, the lowest class. What was the role of the nobles? The nobles used to collect tax from peasants. That's the reason peasants always lived in extreme poverty and nobles always led a lavish life. So, to resolve those differences, National Constituent Assembly was formed on 9th July 1789 during the first stages of the French Revolution. National Constituent Assembly was made up of the representative of all the three states. It adopted the Declaration of Rights of Men and of the Citizens. It recognized that all the men are equal by nature and before the law, and that government is instituted in order to guarantee to man the enjoyment of his rights. These rights are equality, liberty, security, and property. Now, if we talk about freedom and democracy, most of the countries of Asia and Africa, like Britain and France, adopted a democratic form of government after gaining independence. And if we talk about India, India also adopted democracy after its independence. But there are many countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, they all have mixed record. Some adopted democracy and some were still having military dictatorship and so on. Now let's talk about goals of democracy. People are supreme and powerful. All citizens are equal and have equal rights. Now there is no place of monarchy or dictatorship in democracy. Government should run according to laws. The welfare of the people in minority is always considered, and every citizen is equal in the eyes of the law. Now, what is the most important part of democracy? Yes, it is equality. If there is no equality in democracy, the democracy is meaningless. If we talk about democracy, all the peoples of the country is equal in front of the law, irrespective of their caste, creed, language, or any degree. Now let's discuss the forms of equality. They are political, religious, economic, and social. Now let's discuss them in brief. We'll start with the political equality. Political equality implies that all the citizens should have equal access to similar political rights. They may include the right to vote, to contest election, to voice one's political opinion and criticize government policy, and to actively participate in governance. The laws of our constitution apply to all the Indians regardless of status, sex and religion. Thus all the citizens have political equality. Now let's talk about religious equality. We all know that India is a secular country, and in our country all the religions are given equal importance, and nobody in our country can discriminate anyone on the grounds of religion. People of every religion have equal right in front of law. Now let's discuss economic equality. In recent years, economic equality is acquiring greater significance than even political equality. Economic development, adequate employment, reasonable wages, etc. The Right to Education Bill is trying to give every child between 6 and 14 years proper schooling so that he or she can make use of it and progress in life. If we talk about social equality, by large and civil, political and economic equality enable democracy in letter only, but it is a social equality that enable democracy in spirit. So social equality is a state of affairs in which all the people within a specific society have the equal rights, liberties and status. possibly including civil rights, freedom of speech, property rights, and equal access to certain social goods and social services. There were many social reformers, those who have tried to end the discrimination in the society and have worked for the upliftment of the deprived sections of the society. They were Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, Mahatma Gandhi, and many others. Some of the provisions have been framed for the marginalized sections in the constitution, and these provisions are reservation of seats in the Lok Sabha and state legislatives, passing of right to education bill, child labor law, and the food security bill, reservation of seats in educational institutions and government jobs, declaring untouchability as crime, and establishment of the National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes. So these provisions are important steps towards fulfilling the vision that our leaders have for our country. Injustice around the world. Many people have raised their voice towards the injustice around the world. We will discuss the stories about two courageous persons who stood up for the cause of democracy and have fought for injustice all their lives. We'll talk about Aung San Suu Kyi first. Aung San Suu Kyi is hailed as the champion of the democratic movement in Myanmar. She entered politics in 1988. The same year, she formed the National League for Democracy and her organization won the 1990 election in Myanmar. Though she was arrested and not allowed to contest, she continued her fight for democracy in Myanmar until the government was compelled to release her from house arrest in 2010. Now let's talk about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther was a social reformer. He fought for racial discrimination. Martin Luther King was born in January 1529 in Atlanta. In his childhood, he has faced racial discrimination many times. Now, who doesn't know the story of Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks was a woman who refused to give up her seat on a bus. The police are called and she was arrested. But this led to a revolt all over the America and started the American Civil Rights Movement. The king said, "Now is the time for hope and healing." Martin Luther have read many books of Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin was much influenced by the method of non-violence. Peaceful marches were organized by the black community and many were arrested for taking part in them. On 28 August 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. and other leaders led a march into Washington, D.C. In this march on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, over 2 lakh people marched from the Washington Monument to the Lincoln Memorial. It was here he delivered his famous speech, "I Have a Dream." He was just 39 years old when he died. King was against the Vietnam War. 7th April 1968 was declared a national mourning day for him. He is regarded as an icon of American progressivism. Now, we are at the end of the chapter, so now it's time to revise some of the important points. Democracy is meaningless without equality. Magna Carta states that king has to obey the law. The goal of democracy is to bring about equality and secularism. The French society was divided into 3 categories, that is, first state, second state, and the third state. Students, I hope you have understood the chapter. Now it's time for some brainstorming exercise. So let's start. What is democracy? What are the three forms of equality? And what is Magna Carta? So, students, give me the answers of these questions in the comment section below. So, students, I hope you have understood the chapter. Be safe, be at your home. Thank you. Have a good day.